followed by Wendell Simpson.
Hi, I'm Jeff Gardner. I'm from the great borough of Hawthorne. I'm the Democratic chairman there. I'm also from the county of Passaic in the great 35th district. And it's a matter of public record that I actually intend to challenge my incumbent senator in the 35th district this year. And I wanted to address that point with all of you because it dovetails with some of the concerns that members of a variety of underrepresented communities mentioned tonight in terms of a disconnect between the number of people who are living in a particular district and the representation that they have been able to achieve in the legislature. And one of the reasons is because there are assorted institutional impediments to actually being elected to the legislature. And I'm hoping that we will not have an artificial one this year created by the timing of the process that is going on here with this committee. You're doing obviously very, very important work. It only happens every 10 years, and you're not going to want to rush through it. You're going to want to include the public as much as possible. But there's also a ticking clock with a June primary and currently an early April filing date. I would ask that you please expedite the process by taking certain steps, including acknowledging what we all know to be the case, and that is that an 11th member is almost certainly going to need to be appointed. And that person should be here right now. If he's not, he should definitely be here right now because that is going to be an awful lot of power invested in one person. And it would be a real shame if that one person, who ultimately will have decision-making power, will not have even been in this room to hear any of the concerns that have been expressed tonight, did not hear any of the concerns expressed in Tom's River. And at some point, when it becomes obvious to the members of this committee that, in fact, an 11th member is going to be needed, I think it's obvious to a lot of people not on the committee already, and I suspect it may be obvious to a good number of the people sitting here. It's time to include that 11th person so we can get to a finished map in time for, I confess, people like me, but also other potential candidates out there, many of them from underrepresented communities, who are going to need more than a week to gather the signatures and the endorsements and support that they need to launch credible races for the legislature. All the concerns mentioned about underrepresentation will mean nothing if viable candidates in well-drawn districts have no time to actually put together a campaign in this year, legislative year. So that's point one. And luckily I only have one other point. And it's what I think is fairly obvious, and it builds on what a number of the folks testifying tonight mentioned with regard to using the population figures versus voter turnout figures in this process. This happens every 10 years. That's not a number plucked out of thin air. It's because we have a census every 10 years. And this process is based on that census. The census counts the population. It does not analyze the voter turnout in a particular year to the advantage of one party or another. And you're here because we just had that census that delivered to you population numbers. And the argument that your decision should be based on something other than that is a waste of time. That's all I have to say.
Thanks for your testimony. Second call for Wendell Simpson. Mr. Simpson here.